I've got a really simple card for you today, but I wanted to show you the new Pansy and what you can do with that. So I thought it'd be a nice way to show it off. And we will be using the amazing sentiments for our message on our card. The Ornate Octagons, we'll use that as the center panels. Here is the Bearded Pansy. Very pretty, comes in 3 sizes with matching leaves. And the Indus Gemini die is what we're going to be using for the edges. And the sentiment has been cut out with our pierced flags. Okay, so I'm going to do a little more cutting. Bring this panel in. I have already started and done one of the Indus and one of the Octagon striplet here, Ornate Octagon. I'm going to bring this back in. Now for the center panels on this, we're only going to be using the inside decorative part of this die. So I'm going to pop it into place. Let's bring our cutting plates over and let's line this up. I'm just going to leave a very narrow border between them. Pop that on. Give it a quick cut. There we go. Let's check it. That looks like it's been cut well. Now, because I didn't want to emboss any part of this, and then as I run it back through, it would kind of flatten it, I've not embossed any of it. So it'll all have a very similar look to it when we're finished. I'm just going to peel this back. And I'll tell you what, let's do a little removing. I thought they might stay in the die, but we can ensure that they pop out with a little brushing. There we go. And just a little bit here to pick out, so give me a second. Just pop those. You get the little curly cues caught, so you have to kind of be careful there. And there's a few. Okay. Cut all of those so you can see how pretty that looks there. Now let me tidy up my plates here. Take all our little other extra pieces off. There we go. So next I want to bring in the Gemini die and line it up on this edge. Now your Geminis have both cut edges that you can use. Oops. Giving whatever look you like. I'm going to use this edge on the outside, so I'll choose this cutting edge to go with it. And we'll line this up, so I'm just going to pop that down and put that one into place. A little bit of taping required, and let me just get it straight as I can in between the borders. That looks pretty good. Get a new piece of tape. I think that looks nice. Let me make sure I'm relatively even, so we have a nice pretty finish. That side's off. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'm going to move that just ever so slightly down on both sides. There we go. And if you have any questions about whether or not that'll cut to the edge, you can just see if the edge is just a little bit of the cutting edge is over. I have a tiny bit here. I want to move it a little bit that direction, or it might just require a little bit of a nip with our scissors. But I think that'll work. Pop this into place. And as you notice, I actually ran that through so the rollers go all the way down rather than putting it through this direction, because you'll get a much better cut that way. So that's been cut nicely, and as I expected, just a tiny little nip. There we go. That should work. Take our tape off, and I've got a tiny little piece here still. Get underneath that. There we go. Peel those off. So now you can see what a pretty background I've made using the Striplet and the Gemini die on either side there. And I want to add a little bit of color behind that. So I've picked up some of the iris card, and we're just going to seat that right behind it. So let me use a little bit of our Cosmic Shimmer glue and see if I can just tap it on to some of the highlighted larger spots here. That's a little thick, and we want to put a little bit around here. I'm going to leave my edges free, so I don't want to use a spray glue that might get them sticky. All the way around. Right, that should be just enough to hold it, I think. So I'm going to pop this on top and try and line that up. Let me see if I've got it the right width there. Looks pretty good. There we go, like that. Let me just make sure we've got a nice adhesion. Okay, so now I've created the base of the card. We're going to put this onto a little bit of mounting foam. Pop that right into the center. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to build this up a little bit with my sentiment and the flower. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the pansy. And what I want to show you before I do that is I've turned these upside down on my magnetic sheet to show you something. They have separate cutting edges, and if you notice that they're very organic looking. So if you take the back side, the flat part of this die, and just put a little black mark where they match up on one spot, then when you go to put them onto your cardstock, that's the way you're going to be using them. That won't affect the way it cuts at all because it's not going to get near the cardstock. And you can just line them up together that way. And it's so much easier than if you have to take them and fiddle around and figure out what part goes to it. Just a little quick tip that I've learned. It also works well on our rose die too. Anything that's organic and you have several pieces, I think that is definitely the way to go. Okay, so pop that in there. We'll cut the pansy. Let's see, that should have done it. Okay, now you want the beauty to come out in this one, so we're going to do a bit of embossing. So I've changed that out and put our tan mat on there. Roll through. There we go. Okay, take off my tape here. We're going to do a little bit of inking. And the thing I love about the pansies are they come in so many different colors. You can make these pansies any color combination you like, and they just look gorgeous. There we go. Okay, so first thing I want to do, let me get a hold of that, is I'm going to do a little bit of inking around the outside there, hopefully to pick up that edge, using some shaded lilac, and I'm going to use a little smoothie here. Now I want that center to be yellow, so I'm going to try and keep my finger over that so I don't accidentally hit it. There we go. Ooh, I think I got that underneath my border a little bit, but we'll see. There we go. And it's a very, very small area there to ink, so I'm really giving it a bit of pressure. Pop that out. Let's see how we did there. Yeah, oh, that looks good. I can live with that. Now, the other thing I want to do, I'm going to pop that back into place for the moment. And I'm going to use a marker for this next step. I'm going to ink the center there. This is mustard seed. And there's little, what I call little whiskers on this flower. So what you want to do is rather than going into that die and catching the nib on this, come off of it a little bit, and that way you won't ruin your tip. And just fill this part in there. Pull it inward. And move my fingers. Okay. And then if you find that you haven't quite picked up enough of that, what you can do is use the smaller tip on this and just draw in the little whisker bits, which I think is quite pretty. Looks like little eyelashes on your pansy. Okay. The next thing is I've cut the backing on this just using the outside piece. And we're going to just put a little bit of glue on this. Let's use our fine line and attach it, and we'll add in the purple area there. Put some there. Oops. And then I'll go around the edge here. Just get enough glue to hold that into place. That should do a job. And some of these little itty bitty lines, you can just put a tiny bit over that. Okay, so let me work out which direction that needs to go. I've got a big piece that kind of sort of sticks out there, so that should fit real nicely right there. Now, you could leave this white like that if you want. I think that's quite pretty. I'm going to add a little bit of purple in there, so I'm going to go back to the Distress marker and use the shaded lilac. And I'm just going to go and fill in a little bit here, just to bring that over. Tiny bit more color. And I'm just going to go right through the top die cut into the back. Give it a little bit of a scribble. There we go. And even these little areas up here, we can do those too. Okay. So I really like the way that looks, but I want to do a little bit of bling on it too. So I'm going to hit it with some spray adhesive over the top, and then we'll do some glittering. Bring that back, just hold the edge of that. Do both sides, there we go. Diamond sprinkles right over the top of that. There we go. So we've made the pansy pretty and sparkly. I love it. All right. Now let me put that back. I'm going to seat that onto a seam binding bow. I've tied this out of our royal blue. Oops, excuse me, wrong one. Put that on with a glue dot. And I'm going to seat that right on the end of my sentiment. So let's put that one on first, in fact. Pop that into place about like that. Put that right over the edge there to hide that. I've got a bit of yellow baker's twine here, just to bring in the other color from my flower. Put that right on the top of that. And you can even do a little bit of forming with your pansy and just round it a tiny bit. I don't know if you can see that. Let me move it a little bit. There we go, just to give it tiniest bit of shape to it. Piece of mounting foam behind. Pop this into place. So pretty. And you can do little shaping with your bows, pull the loops apart. Just love the way that looks. There again, finish it off with some pearls and you have a stunning and really Go ahead and watch them. Let me know what you think. You can email me directly, and I have a daily blog at www.partycraft.blogspot.com.